Good morning, Rabbi Sai. The whole island wants to welcome Gershon Ben Moshe, Gary Ben Moshe back to the booth. He just got up. When did you get up? Oh. I sent people to the Moshav yesterday. Seriously. I thought you were getting up this morning. Wow. Okay. His first day back. Right into it. Yeshur Koyach. Welcome back. We shouldn't know from any more tzars. Yesterday I said the story of it's just cheers. And there's other Givaldik Amaisis for the future. Rabbi Say, tremendous news. The Nachshon ben Aminadav, the person who jumped in first, the group that jumped in first. Montreal had a get-together yesterday. You're not going to believe this, Bemis. It was a tremendous chizuk for me. Montreal is a small place. We don't hear from them that much. But they decided they want to do the first ever kickoff for this campaign that we're doing. Approximately 20 people showed up, and they set a goal to raise $100,000. I think that's very nice. There's always that guy. When they raise $100,000 in Israel, it's Israeli dollars? No, it's American. We go with American dollars. Be'ez Hashem, they'll do more than that, but it's a big chizuk for us, because now we know if Montreal can do it, then Toronto is going to have to do double than that, and London is going to have to do triple than that, Dov Harris. V'chulu. Here, this is Yankee from Yankee's Pizza. He donated the whole thing. He's part of the shir. He came to the Shabbaton. Shalom Goldstein is the one that ran the whole thing. So Yeshur Koyach, thank you. I showed this picture yesterday of Reb Nachum Katz's grandson. Showing it again today because Be'ezer Hashem, this week, the cover of the Israeli mishpacha, the Hebrew mishpacha, is going to be about MDY. Be'ezer Hashem will bring more people to Torah. It's a beautiful, I have to say, it's probably the nicest, best article ever written about MDY. Yeah, I loved it. Very, very talented, very young. How old is he? He's 25 years old, and this is already like his 5th cover in a row or something crazy. Very, very talented guy. Hi, Rav Eli. While I was back in Manchester for a few days, I bumped into a fellow MDYer and my cousin Benny Gittleson, who's inviting his grandparents to the Chasana by the basic forest tonight. While I was saying hello to mine. Regards, Jussie Saunders, director of the Jewish Weekly, we miss you. And Mazal Tov to Benny, the Chassan is in the background, the second guy. Yossi's on the left. Tonight, at tonight's Chasana in Manchester, another Chasana tonight, or maybe it's the same one. Yeah, maybe this is Benny's. This is one of your favorite Talmidim, Yisrael Joseph, from Avram Schwartz, learning the Gemara, not wasting time at a Chasana. Dear Belly and the MDY family, a year ago, as my little brother, choking up, your Talmud, this is Avi Manuel's brother. I miss the guy, I do. A year ago, as my little brother lay in a coma from which he would not recover, I realized that sitting in Teaneck, there was exactly one thing I could do for him. Later that night, I texted his account that I would try to make up the daf for him. I went back to Nazar 41 on YouTube and started learning. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed this year and realized how much I had been missing. The charts made the sugyas easier to understand. The narrations were done with wonderful humor, and there's a special camaraderie here. The camaraderie is no small thing. Earlier this year, when we were learning for Binyamin Early, I took upon myself 7 daf Gemara. Where is he? Sorry, no? On a hunch, I looked back at the list of people who learned for Avi when he got sick, and I saw that Robert Early had learned 15 dapim for Avi. How many dapim did we do together? Like 5,000, I think it was? Huh? Yeah. Shalom Aleichem. Wie heißt die? Yoel Shimon Kesteman from Vanen. Monts in New York, Shalom Aleichem, Yishkoyach. Who else is a guest there? You're not a guest, are you? Not anymore. Shalom Aleichem guest. Wow. The guest is back. The most... kids are back. You fly to America more than Avi. Shalom Aleichem, welcome back. We missed you. So I never met the Elis, but what an important and powerful connection. I could ramble on about the friends I've made with wonderful people, Yosef Bilyak and Mark Ashkenazi, and I've reconnected with friends from Yeshiva. But I mostly want to say thank you, Rav Eli, for bringing us this amazing shir, and thank you for everyone who have been wonderful friends and amazingly supportive. Be'ezrat Hashem, may we all be zechus to finish Shas together. Your Talmud, Avi's brother, Yossi Mandelbaum. It's unbelievable. So he got another guy that fell for it, got into the daf, and this is his daf anniversary. He's doing the daf exactly a year. So Be'ezrat Hashem, you should be Messiah Shas with us. Yisher Koyach. Unbelievable. I mean, it always reminds me that we're not here forever, and nobody knows when and what. He was the Arisha B'Chabura, maybe you could call him. He was the life of the party. He's always there, always had a good joke, had a funny background, schmoozing on those. When you went on Zoom, you always heard his voice. And suddenly, in his early 40s, boom, all over. So you got a chaparine, Rabbi said we got a chaparine. We never know. The Masechta is sponsored by Anonymous for the safe and speedy return of all the hostages. Amen. The Paras HaChodesh, this is the last day. Mazal Tov, last day. Let's say B'Kavana. Mazal Tov to my son Ahron. Mazal Tov to myself, Eli. And the entire mishpacha on the birth of Sophia Ruth. She should bring a lot of nachas to Klal Yisroel and to the Rebbeinu Shalom. Amen. Paras HaChodesh. Lili Nishmat, Yosef ben Chaya, and Lili Nishmat, zechariah ben Moshe. Everything's backwards. I guess that I say it every day and I don't remember anymore, but it's backwards. I'm confused. By Ahron Fraiman, it should be a zechus to Reb Eli if it continues siyadta dishmaya and teaching Torah to Klal Yisroel. By Yaakov and Malka, Luxenburg, Lili Nishmat, Rochel, Gittle, Bas, Moshe. I don't know. This is a stira. It says Lili Nishmat and then it says Bas with a S. I don't know what to do here. I'm confused. Let's do it all the ways. Lili Nishmat, Rochel, Gittle, Bat. First of all, Rochel, Gittle is a Bas. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Lili Nishmas, Rochel, Gittle, Bas, Moshe, and Yecheskel ben Avram Moshe. These are yeshivish names. These are Basses. And the Art of the Month, sponsored by Anonymous for the zechus, for needs a childbirth, his daughter, and a healthy baby. I'll just explain to them real quickly. I don't want to dwell on this every day, but I'll have to. We did 5,200 daven. First of all, we have a guest. Shalom Aleichem. Here, go around. Here, we have a seat for you. I don't know if we have two seats. You know, you can't. Where are you going? To get to this seat, you have to go around. But there's a seat over here. You know what? One of you sit here, one of you sit here. I don't want to confuse anybody. Binyamin, we just read a whole thing about you. I mean, Robert. Sorry. That wasn't good. Okay. What? You always come, just a little late. Weitergegangen. So I'll just explain. I wanted to explain before. I'll explain now. I don't want to dwell on it. What it is, people take upon themselves a page. They say, okay, I'm going to try to raise. If it was 20 people and $100,000, I'll try to raise $5,000. You know, it averages out to $5,000 each. Here, sit down over here. This seat right here. Shalom Aleichem. What's your name?
Ami Middeldorf.
You related to this guy? Wow, what a zechus. And you're also related? That's your uncle?
Yeah.
He's like the star of the shir. You know that, right? When he comes, he's usually in the army. He's usually giving out knives to the chaylim, which is more important than learning daf, right? No, it's not! I'm supposed to say no. Let's do it again. He's busy giving out helmets to chaylim. It's an unbelievable thing. Isn't that more important than the daf? No way. He's confused. I'm confused. Let's ask your father. What's more important, to give out stuff to
Nothing more important than the daf.
That's right. I love you, man. Hey, let's go. I'll get out of here. Let's go out. Thank you. Nothing is more important than the daf. Don't get out of here. There you go. Mati, what's more important than the daf? What? So how come you don't come to the daf and you stay in the army bases? Let me tell you a story that I haven't said in a long time. We had a guy here by the name of Shmuel Eluat. I was coming up the stairs, and he's going down the stairs. I said, Shmuel, what are you doing? He goes, I have to collect money to Erev Yom Kippur. I said, no, you don't have to collect money. You have to learn the daf. Daf is more important than... No, but I said, get back in here. So Kitzer, he comes back in. And he said, he didn't come back right away. I started this year, and I said what happened. And all of a sudden, he walked in, and we made a whole thing out of it. And he said, and he did the daf. What happened was that during this year, people heard about it, and they gave him thousands of dollars. People, they said, you know, he came back this year, $1,000. And then he tells me, what happened was, instead of him going, he sent his son, and he gave his son all the addresses. He says, nobody was home. His son raised 0. Had he gone, he would have raised 0. He came to the daf. He made thousands of dollars. So what do you see from here? All the chayla would have their helmets. They're all going to have body armor and all the flashlights and the knives. Everything will be fine as long as you come to the daf. You can do it afterwards. What? We will. We did. You weren't here. The group in Montreal raised $100,000. How? They didn't raise. They set a goal. Each person takes a page, it says your name on it, and you say how much you want to raise, and then you go and you reach out to your friends in a very easy way. Just send some text message, this, that, and most people either throw it into the garbage or they respond if they like you. And like that, you raise the goal, whatever our goal is going to be. 1 million, 2 million, who knows? 10 billion, halavai. All right. Rabbi Isai, we are holding in middle. We have like 5 minutes here that we have to tidy things up, finish up this sugya, and we're going to move on to other sugyas. Very interesting stuff today. But we're holding in middle. We had like this. A guy walks down the street, and I could ask you the question because it's Nagaya today. You walk down the street, there used to be something called a check. The island remembers? It's one of these, it's a piece of paper, you sign your name. When you're in the grocery store, there's always that woman that holds up the line. She pulls out a big checkbook. She very slowly, how much? $1.25. One, you know? Zazazach. Whatever, we're not going to talk about that part. You find a check on the street, it has a signature, it has an amount, it has a name on top. What do you do with it? What do you do with the check? What would you do if you found the check? It says who the check was written by. It says who the check is to, this in the store, signature, amount. What do you do? Shiloh. So, something similar, you find the document on the street, it says, Ruvain owes Shimon $1 million. What do you do? So the Mishnah tells us that if it's connected to real estate, you don't give it back. If it says in the shtar that if he doesn't pay the loan, there's a chrayis nechasim, there's a shibud, there's a lien on real estate, you don't give it back. Abai is of the opinion that Eidav b'chasum of zechus. So it goes like this, right? As soon as the witnesses sign, that's when the lien occurs, that's when it starts. So why don't you give the shtar back? So we're explained that we're concerned about a knunya. We're concerned that the loiva borrows money, then he's a good guy, he gives back the money, he gets back his shtar. Then under the table, they do a shtick, he gives the shtar back to the malva. Or in this case, you found the shtar and you give it back to the malva. So the malva goes to the loiva and says, pay me back, which he already did, and it's not a real loan. So the loiva says, I don't have money. However, I sold real estate that was attached to this loan. Let's go get the piece of real estate from the guy. Real estate is worth $10 million. So they go and they grab the real estate from the unsuspecting buyer and they split it. They make a deal. It's a big lie because the loiva already paid the loan. Now they're just taking extra for themselves. Great. That's why you don't give back a document. That's why you don't give back a shtar. Shmuel, as we learned yesterday, is of the opinion we're not concerned that people are going to do knunya. No, this is not a thing. It's too far-fetched to worry about ganovim doing these things. No, not concerned. That's why you don't give it back. All of a sudden, because you're going to give it back, no knunya. So what's the problem? Why can't I give back the document? The problem is because we're talking about, unlike the other manda'amrim that we learned until now, that the loiva, we're talking about a case that the loiva admits that there was a loan. Shmuel holds that the loiva does not admit there's a loan. There's no loan. It's already paid off, whatever, no loan anymore. So they have no business giving back a document that he denies. Okay, so now that we know that, Let's go back to the next chart. This is not so confusing. We're not going to do all the parts of the chart. But yesterday we learned Brisa. In the Brisa, it talks about if you find the shtar chayv, what do? If you want to see it inside, it's on Yud Gimel Amud Beis, the top line over there. Matzah shitri chayv v'yesh b'machrayis nechasim. It has achrayis in the shtar. Even though everybody admits to it, even though the loiv admits to it, do you guys see a problem? Even if the loiva admits to it, don't give it back. So first of all, we're talking about the loiva admits to it. And Shmuel says we're talking about the loiva doesn't admit. That was his whole explanation. If he wants to go with Abaya's mahalach of Eda b'chasum zachan and he wants to hold like Abaya, he must say that the loiva doesn't admit to the loan. And over here in the Brayz says Mefurish he does admit. Let's keep on going. So we're holding like 3 lines from the top. This Brayz is very problematic to Shmuel. To Yufta the Shmuel betarti. It's going to be 2 questions on Shmuel. Chada, Kir Belazar. First of all, like the question we asked yesterday on Reb Elazar, Shmuel has to say, if he wants everything to go well, he has to say that the Brayz, that the Mishnah is talking about when the loiva doesn't admit to the loan, and the Brayz is mefurish that he does admit. V'chada, another problem. Rabbi said these sugis are gevaldik. You know why? Because we're learning a lot of musagim, and they're also gevaldik because if your head is spinning right now, we're starting a brand new sugi in 2 minutes. Shtar hakna, to remind the olam. Tamid chachamim. You go on the chassis and they ask you what's shtar hakna. Yesterday nobody knew what it was, right? Today we know. Shtar hakna, the top words on Yud Gimel Amud Aleph, means that somebody wrote a shtar and said, you could take my belongings starting right now, even though you didn't give me a loan. Give me a loan later, line of credit, whatever you want to call it. So he says, if you find one of these shtaris, you could give it back, and we're not concerned that somebody repaid it. Why? Rabbi say, why? What's the svara always? I'm not concerned that somebody repaid it. Why? Because how did you find such a shtar? If he repaid it, what's the first thing you do when you repay a loan? Rip it up. Like the Gevaldik Meiser from somebody sitting here in the shir. I don't know if he wants you to say it's him, but his brother-in-law. I said this a few times. Geschmack. His brother-in-law once gave somebody owed him money in the diamond industry, and he gave him a shtar or something, and he paid it back. A whole ma'isa. The guy came to him with the shtar and said, "Here, over there, it goes by shake hand. There's a lot of trust." This guy was a liar, and he wanted to collect twice with the same shtar, even though he knew very well that it was paid off. So this guy's brother says, "Oh yeah, there's a shtar. Let me see the shtar." So he gave him the shtar. He says, "Okay." And he ripped it up. He tore it up. That's the first thing you do. If you pay back, you rip up its shtar. So, loy chashin lepirai. To Yufta, why? Why is that a problem? So if you look at this, just look at this chart for a second. It says on the bottom right corner, Shmuel, right next to him, loy chashinan, for pirai. We're not concerned that it was paid off. What does the Brisa say? Top right corner, Brisa chashinan. So there's a problem. Red and green. There's a contradiction. In the Brisa it says we're concerned that people pay things off, and Shmuel says we're not concerned. If you find a shtar, even though the loiva admits that it's a good shtar, don't give it back. Why? You see, it says ta brayso chayshina lebrayin. Because the loiva, especially if the loiva says, "I don't admit that this is a good shtar." In other words, I already paid it off. The chayshina lebrayin. So that's the end of the sugya. So we have 2 contradictions. We have 2 problems with Shmuel. Great. So what do we do with the check? At the end of the day, today, what do we do with the check? So they say, again, I'm not a Rav, I'm just throwing things out that I saw. If you find a check that's a regular check with the signatures, the names, the whole thing, you don't give it back. You don't give it back. You don't give it to anyone. And certainly you don't deposit it for yourself. Why not? Because it's not your money. The money, the guy that has if you want to go like deep into the halacha, the guy that is the owner of this account, it's his money, as chazak on this money, you have no right to take it out of his account, obviously. If You find a check without a signature. What do? Give it back to the owner of the check. Now, sometimes people leave the amount open. It's an open check. They don't write the amount in. And in this case, the writer of the check admits he wrote this check and left it open. Could you give it back to the one it's written to? Do we have to be concerned maybe the one that it was written to passed it off to another person? So the answer is nobody passes off an open check to anyone, because the guy you give it to might fill in a crazy amount. He trusted you, he didn't trust anybody else. So you could give it back to the guy that was written to, but not to anyone else. Says the Gemara, Omer Shmuel, Nu Sugya. We're talking about a machlokes again. You find the shtar in the street. Do you give it back, yes or no? And it says in the Mishnah that what if the shtar doesn't have achrayis nechasim? Again, achrayis nechasim means that there's an attachment of real estate to the shtar. If you don't pay, you could the malva, the lender, could go after your real estate, and if you don't have real estate anymore, because after the time that you took the loan, you sold your real estate, you could go and take the real estate out of the purchaser's rishus. If there's no achrayis, if there's no real estate attached, don't give it back either. My time in the Rabbanon, why not? According to Rabbanon, you don't give it back. Why? Savri, Rabbi side, this is a new musig in Shas. We might have mentioned it once. What does this mean? If you were to read these words, Achrayus Ta'us Sofer. Don't look in the art scroll. I see you peeking. It seems like the opposite. It seems like the fact that there is a lien of real estate in the shtar, it's a mistake that the Sofer made. And the fact is, these words mean the exact opposite. The fact that it's not in the shtar means that the Sofer forgot. That in other words, every shtar should have a lien and a connection to real estate. And when you don't have that lien, you hear Donnie, when you don't have that lien, it's a mistake. Donnie was up the whole night in the giving out stuff to the Chaylim. My time the Rabbanon Savri, you hear this? Achrayus to Soferu. Mati, what's Achrayus to Sofer? What does it mean?
You just said it a second ago.
I know, so what does it mean? Achrayus to Sofer means that when you have a shtar in front of us and it doesn't mention real estate, don't worry about it. There's plenty of real estate attached to it. The Sofer forgot to put it in. And therefore, whoever has the shtar, the malva, could go after real estate. Again, it's not going to be fair. He's going to go after real estate that he's not deserving of, because the loan happened later, the shtar was written earlier. There's a lot of issues when there's real estate attached. Ask the Gemara, did Shmuel really say there's a concept called Achrayus to Sofer? V'amar Shmuel Shevach Shefer V'shibud Tzarich Limalech. Here are these three things. These three things, the Sofer must ask permission from the one writing the shtar. Should I put it in? You, the guy taking a loan, should I put it in the shtar? What are these three things? First of all, shibud, we know. Shibud means that there's a connection to real estate. So that's it. Right here we have a question. It says, Mefurish, you have to ask. And if you don't ask or you don't get permission, you don't put a shibud, you don't put a lien into the shtar. So if you don't see the lien in the shtar, it's not a mistake. It's because he asked permission and he didn't get permission. So there are shtaris that don't have a connection to real estate. What are you telling me? This is Shmuel saying it. The other thing is, what if he made improvements? You bought a field from someone that took a loan. So first of all, I want to know, is my field guaranteed? I'll get my money back. Second of all, what if I build a house on this field? What if I plant trees and the lender takes my field away from me? Are you going to reimburse me for my improvements in the land? Shevach, I have to ask permission. Write that in there. Yes, I'm going to take responsibility. So ask me. It doesn't happen automatic. Shefer, and also if they take my field away from me, the one that I just bought from you, because you owe money and you didn't pay, and they took my field away, can I get your best field? I want your Iddis. I don't want just any field. I want in Manhattan, downtown. I don't want in Missouri. Okay. So says the Gemara. You have to ask permission. You want to tell me there's a machlokes in Shmuel, whether Shmuel holds, you have to ask permission or not? Whether it's an automatic thing, achrayis to a sofer, that the shibud goes into the shtar, whether you put it in or not? Can't be that there's a machlokes amaroi, what Shmuel said. Like Hashem. Kam b'shtar alva, the loyev inish zuz b'chdi. When we're talking about a loan, nobody gives a loan. A loan, you don't gain anything. It's a pure mitzvah. I give you a loan, and that's it. I don't get anything out of it. If I get a little bit more, then it's ribbis, it's usher. So the least you can do is back it up with some real estate. So automatically, there's a real estate lien, whether the sofer put it in or not. If you didn't put it in, you should know it's a mistake on the sofer's part. But the second part that Shmuel says, that I have to ask the sofer, should I put shevach shefer shibud in there? On a sale, on a regular sale. Why? There are people that buy land for one day. To this very day, I happened to be there. I never really purchased anything there. I went to see what it looks like. There's something called a tax sale in the United States. I'm sure it's all over the world. And that is people that don't pay their property taxes. In Israel, it's called arnona, whatever it is. Let's say it adds up to a lot of money and the guy's ignoring you. So what they do is they sell your taxes at auction. And I know some very successful people in Chicago that this is what they do all day. They go to these auctions and basically the starting bid is the amount of the taxes. So let's say you have a house that's worth $1 million and the taxes are $30,000. You didn't pay, you live in Monsey. Tremendous, the taxes are very high, right? Vividly the taxes, $35,000 a year. Easy. Okay? Some people can't afford $35,000 extra dollars on top of your $100,000 tuition. So you don't pay. You get lazy, you don't pay. Comes a guy, so they sell it. They say, who wants to give the city's $35,000? The guy says, I'll give $36,000. It's a bid, a war. This guy says, I'll give $40,000. Kids, you give whatever you give. You buy the taxes. Then the owner gets a notification that his taxes were sold. Now, sometimes he doesn't get it. Sometimes he's in Eretz Yisrael. Sometimes he's deceased. I don't know. The guy was nifter. Who knows? So the guy that buys the taxes, he starts raking up. They start charging 12% interest, whatever the amount is on their money, and it gets more and more and more. All of a sudden, the guy gets a bill of $60,000, $70,000. Now he for sure doesn't know what to do. And the guy could take his house. Okay, that's how it works. Now, what if the guy gets a shock? He can't believe it. He didn't get the mail. All of a sudden, he finds out in the newspaper that somebody bought his taxes. So the first thing he does, he runs down to the city and he pays the $35,000. Now it's already $45,000. He pays it and he takes his house back. What is that called? That's called the guy bought a house for one day. The guy at the tax sale that bought the house, he knows that he might not have this house. He buys 20, 30 of these in one shot. This is what they do. Some of them he gets lucky and he gets to keep. Some of them, the guy pays him the extra taxes and he makes a couple of bucks. Some of them, he finds out later, are worthless. He bought in downtown Chicago, the house. I told you this, a guy was trying to convince me that he wanted to pay me $1,000 to buy his house, to take his house from him. That's how little it was worth in downtown Chicago. And not in downtown, on the south side. Okay. There's something called Ovid Inish the Zoven R Eli. Over here also. I know that you took out a big loan. I know you can't afford it. I know you might not pay it. But you know what? I like your penthouse in the center of Yerushalayim. So I'm gonna make you a deal. I'm buying your penthouse right now. Instead of $10 million, I'm buying it for $50,000. Why? Because it's very possible you're not going to pay your loan, and they're going to foreclose on my penthouse, and they're going to take it away. But right now, I need it for Yontif. I'm asking to do this. I'm buying it for a few days. Now, later on, they come to take it away. Okay, it's a risk I took. I might get to keep it. I might not. The Gemara says, so therefore, in that case, not every time is there a Shibud Nechasim. Not every time do I get my money back. I take a risk. I'm asking to take a risk. I'm not paying that much anyways. I take a risk. There are people like that. Kahid is a story. Davor Bari, this person by the name of Avu Bari, Zoven Milisa Machose, he bought, the top floor, the attic, from his sister. Also Bachoiv Tarfa Minei. She obviously didn't tell him the whole story. Comes the person that lent her money and grabs the attic away from the brother. Also, Kamei Demar Shmuel. Now they go to Bezdin. He's taking his sister to Bezdin. He needs to know. Listen, is she chayiv? Even if he's not upset at her, he just wants to know: is she chayiv or not? Is she going to get Gehenim for this? I have to save my sister. Yesterday we had the son that tried to kick his father out of the nursing home, put him in the nursing home, take all his stuff. Rochel's for a John story. Today in the Gemara, a sister did it to a brother. Amarlei. When you wrote the document, the sale document, did she write in there that she's taking responsibility and there's a lien on property? So he said no. Like the famous joke, what do you say at a birthday party of a person who just turned 120? Say, have a nice day. So that's what he told him. Have a nice day. This was the shortest in Torah ever. Is there? Does it say in there that there's a shibud nechasim? No. Bye bye. See you later. Go fight it out with your sister. We can't help you out. Oh, I'm a Talmud Chacham. I know my stuff. I went to Daf Yomi. I know my stuff. You said the Omar Achrayus to Soferu. Wait a minute. One of the musagim of Shas is Achrayus to Sofer. So what do you mean she didn't write it in there? It was a mistake. The Sofer didn't write it in there. No. So what's the answer, Rabbi say? That's a sale. Achrayus to Sofer is on a loan, not a sale. So here you see the distinction between a loan document that you say Achrayus to Sofer. The Gemara says this again. There is no Achrayus to Sofer when it comes to selling, because there are people that don't put in a guarantee because they're willing to take the risk. Omar Abai nu sugyo. It's gewaldig. Ruven shemach sadol shem bachrayos uba bachoyv de Ruven kotarv leminei. Okay, here's the story. Hold on, let me see if I have a better one. Oh, here we go. This one. Okay, you have Ruven, he owns a field. The Malva gave him $100. Reuven goes, sells the field to Shimon. Okay. Comes the Malva and says, Reuven, pay me, I don't have $100. So what does the Malva do? Shimon improved it, Givaldik. The Malva takes the field. Now, who does the Malva and Shimon? The Malva takes the field from Shimon. Could Reuven get involved there in the court case? That's the question. Again, yeah, you see what happened? Reuven owns the field. He takes a loan out. Reuven goes, sells the field. So Reuven is very involved there. He sells the field to Shimon. But who takes it legally away from Shimon? The Malva. The Malva, he didn't get paid by Reuven, so he goes and he takes the field away from Shimon. Could Reuven go to court and try to prove to the Malva, you didn't give me a loan, why did you take it away from Shimon? Or it's something that's only between the Malva and Shimon? The answer is, what's the answer, Rabbi Isai? He could get involved. Why not? What?
It's against the property, not the person.
No, that's already too deep.
His money's at stake.
Oh, that's right. His money's at stake. Reuven has a big thing here. Number one, his money's at stake. What else is at stake? His reputation. He doesn't want somebody to be upset at him. So, simple halacha. Reuven shemachar sadal Shimon b'achrayis. Here the Gemara sticks in the word. There is a guarantee, a real estate lien. And the Malva comes and takes the field away from the buyer. Dino who the halacha is the also Reuven umishtoy dino ba'adei. Reuven can go fight the Malva in court. And the Malva can't tell him back. Who are you? I don't know who you are. I only deal with the buyer. Because Reuven tells him, if you take it out of him, if you take it out of the buyer, he's going to come back to me, and I am responsible to pay him back because it's achrayus. Some say, even if there's no warranty, guarantee, real estate connection here, I don't feel like going into shul and seeing Shimon look the other direction. I made a deal with him. I sold him a property, and they took the property away from him. It's me. He's going to be upset, not you. So even though there's no achrayus, I'm involved there very much, and therefore I could go against you in court. Some ask, why can't Reuven go to court on behalf of Shimon? Anyways, he's a lawyer. He's Shimon's lawyer, no? So maybe Shimon doesn't know about it. Okay. Interesting that the Gemara uses a lashon taroimus. How do you say taroimus in English? Grievance. Tinus. Tinus is in English?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I have tinus? You mean every non-Jew knows what tinus is? 100%. 100%. You take this 100% and use it in a lot of other things that Reb Nachman said, trust me, it's 100%. Trust me. Tinus is in English. The Chofetz Chaim says in Asoiches Umnin, when the Mishnah says over there, taroimus, so the Chofetz Chaim points out that taroimus, you're not permitted to be upset at somebody because you feel like it. Okay? If somebody didn't invite you to his bris, you don't have the halachic right to be upset. We get breaks at people. He did this to me. There's something called taroimus al pi halacha. He did something against halacha. He took something from you. Somebody didn't lend you money. I think he talks about not lending money. You don't have the right to be upset at him. He didn't lend you money. If he doesn't pay you back, then you have taroimus. Then it's halachic taroimus. Interesting. Talking about taroimus, that same person that told me the first ma'aseh, which I messed up, says another gishmaka thing. I'm not saying this is la halacha, just I thought it was funny. Somebody came to his father-in-law for a loan. He said, "Can I have $20,000?" He said, "No." He says, "Why not?" He says, "Because I'd rather you be upset at me than later on I be upset at you." I don't know if it's yafeh, halacha, this, that, but in certain, he looked at the guy and says, "This guy's never paying me. So you know what? You be upset at me now. I don't want to be upset at you. Taroimus, I don't want to be upset." V'amar Abaya. V'amar Abaya. Ruven shemochar sada l'shimon shaloi b'achrayis v'yotzu oleo asikin ad shelo yichzik bo. Asikin, here we go. Very, very simple. Ruvain sells a field to a buyer. Comes a guy, you know how it goes, especially in certain different places. There's always that guy that makes a whole yishrai, what are you selling? It's mine, it used to be mine, I don't have the right documents to prove it, but l'maisa, the whole thing.
It's just
Rumors. He didn't take any responsibility. So it depends. If he didn't make a chazaka, which the Gemara is going to explain, very simple, not a 3-year chazaka, walks up and down the border of the field, whatever he does over there, he could take it back. Why could he take it back? He didn't do a chazaka. Now, Rashi says he didn't give any money. No money exchanged there. Tosfos says there is money, there is a kinyan. Okay. Rashi, we go with Rashi. There was no money, no chazaka. I'm taking it back. Why? I don't even need to deal with all these neighbors that are making rumors, this, that, nothing. Shalom Yisrael. Meshichzik ba. Huh? Not what? Yeah, I give my field back. There is no deal. Meshichzik ba. But once he did a chazaka on the field, even though he didn't give any money, you cannot take it back. Why? There's a sack with a bunch of knots. Savers vikabalt. I had one here yesterday. Oh. There's a sack with a bunch of knots, I guess. Here are the knots. It shows that this sack is very strong, and that's where the saying comes from. A cat in the sack. Yeah? Emes, this is where it comes from. Not joking. Look it up. There's what's his name? Chatu Basak. Here. This is Chatu Basak. This is a cat. I like this guy's face. He's surprised. The guy on the left. Ooh. Okay, anyway. So Chayta the Kitri Savers Kabalt. You bought a property without a guarantee. So it's your loss. If you made a chazak here, now there's rumors, it's your problem. There's a ma'aseh shahaya. The Marit brings a person was going out with this woman, and she told him that her father's the chashav rav and this and that. So they got engaged, and they said, okay, they set a date for the wedding. Then he finds out that first of all she has a shemra, whatever that means. It doesn't go into details. He says it's possible to have a shemra even though you're a pnuya. A shemra doesn't only work for a ishasish, whatever. She has a shemra. Second of all, her father is actually married to a guy. A guy that she was talking about, married to a guy. He wants to know if he's allowed to break the shidduch. He made a shvua. He's gonna get married. Huh?
No, she is Jewish. Her mother is Jewish.
No, not her mother. The father later, the chashav rav. He's not a rav. Right now he's in jail for chveis neshvas. He's married to a guy. Kitzer. So he wants to bring a raya from this Gemara that it says over here that even if you do make a deal, you say, I'm going to buy this property. Once you have oirim, you have all sorts of things, then you can back out of the deal. Besides, he says, the Rosh says that when a person gets engaged, thinking that the father is a chashav yid and she's chashav and this and that, so it's like getting engaged, right? It's getting engaged al tnai. He doesn't talk about mekachtos. The Rosh says this is al tnai, and over here she broke the tnai. Fine. Zog the Gemara. Even if we're talking about, may Moshe have a chazaka. What does chazaka mean? Dayish sometimes means walking on the border, like stomping down the ground. Over here, Rashi says that he lifted up the border. He made a certain border. He showed this is the border. You don't have to be there 3 years. You have to do some sort of maisa, either. I don't know what the word is. Tamping down. Maybe there's a word tamping. Like they have a tamper, like one of these tools that goes like this. Is it called tamping? It's a square with a pole, and they go like this. You guys don't know. You never.
Yes.
Oh,
Moshe said it's called tamping.
Shkoyach Yaakov. That's much better. Turning to the daf, sponsored by Kidnovations in honor of my uncle Reb Elchanan Pressman and a zechus for Akiva Simcha Ben Feiga. The turning of the daf sponsored by Ner Tamid of Baltimore, Maryland, in honor of Fishel, the chashav Fishel and Simcha Gross. Thanks to them, 137 people learned 16,166 dapim, over 727,000 minutes of Torah, or Messiah Bava Kama with MDY, Halavai, all. You want to take that on?
How much are they going to
I don't know. We'll find out. Right now we know about Montreal. One by one. Itmar. Hamoicher Sodel Chaveroi V'nimtzis. Where are we? Oh no, sorry. Mikidayju. What happened there? A guy sold a field, even says the Gemara, with an achrayus, even with a guarantee. I'm not giving you a new field. I'm not giving you your money back. You know why? So what if the guy made a big stink? Did he take it away from you? No. When he takes it away from you, when all these big talkers that it used to be mine and my father used to live it, when they're able to kick you out of the field, then come to me and we'll speak then. You show me a document showing that they took it away from you, I'll pay you cash. I don't care about all these rumors and all these that's something else. That's your problem now. Itmar. A person steals a field. A boy say, I know of a story, mamish, somebody I know very well. I told you this story. I'll say it again. This guy, very, very smart guy, he did a real estate deal with a very successful real estate person, a guy in the business. He took him to a building of his, and he sold him the building. Now, how did the guy know it was his building? Because there's a huge sign on the side of the building that said his name on it. So, obviously, there's a big sign. What happened? The guy went in that morning, put up the sign, took him toward the property, and then took off the sign. When the guy found out, Hashem Yirachim, everything went nuts, and the guy, he had to end up paying back every cent, the whole thing. But there's something called selling. I said also here in Ramat Shemesh, somebody rented an apartment for a very long time, and his trick was, he figured he'll get the guy off his head for 3 years, and meanwhile, he sold the apartment. The owner of the apartment, Maisa Shaya, comes to his apartment, sees another family living there. They say, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? He says, we bought it. No, you didn't buy it. It's my apartment. Get out. It happens. Somebody was sitting here last night when I said the story. He said his parents bought an apartment from somebody during the Yom Kippur War, and it turned out the guy already sold it to somebody else. He lied to them. He took all their money. They got on a plane, went back to America, never lived in Eretz Yisrael again because they lost all their money on a house that was sold. The Mamish made Aliyah. They come here and their apartment was sold to somebody else. A lie. The guy took all their money. It happens.
I know someone who did it happened to them in Netanya.
Yeah, it happens.
Russians moved in.
I know somebody that sold the apartment 3 times, three different people. Before it gets registered, understand? They go and they sell it quickly. What? It happened to you?
So, on a rental, somebody presented himself as the landlord for Torah.
Yeah, somebody presented himself as a landlord, and you gave him $20,000. It wasn't even his.
He was a guy. The people who owned it were doing him a chesed and letting him live there.
The people that only were doing a chesed, letting him live there. I'm just repeating so people know what you're saying in case they don't hear.
He
Yeah.
had all the bills on his name, and he came to us when we were 30 years old, and he said, "Look, I own the place, and I'll make a deal with you." And
Wow.
did to you. We gave him a deposit.
And that was it. I remember you told me this story. Yeah. The kids, sir, it happens today, and it happened, the Gemara talks about it. So this is what happens. Rabbi said, check this out. If you see this guy, you'll understand why. Here, check out his face. This is the type of guy you want to steal from. Anyway, he owns a field. Comes this guy. Check out what he does to him. Unbelievable. Kicks him out of there. Then the Goslin, he says, oh, it's my field. Look, I'm here. He sells it to somebody. Okay? He sells the field. This guy, why did he buy a field? To do this. He put up a house. He improved the field. The Goslin must pay for the house, for the improvements. Of course, he has to pay for the property. He has to give him back the purchase price, but he also has to pay him for the house and for the trees and for everything else. For the fence, the whole thing. Just a quick question. We have a halacha. Let's say Noam Fix moves into this rental that he bought from a guy, and he improves the rental. He improves it. He puts in air conditioning here and there. So you have to put in air conditioning, the whole thing. Does a renovation. Who pays for the renovation? So typically speaking, the owner would have to unfortunately pay for the renovation. Over here we're talking about the Goslin. Why does the Goslin have to pay for the renovation? Ask Rashi. The buyer put up a house on the property, not owned by him, not owned by the Goslin. So whoever the original owner is, he should pay for the house. At least, not the whole house. At least for his expenses, whatever the halacha is. If I walk into your field and I plant a tree, you pay me for expenses. Says Rashi, because it was already improved beforehand when the guy owned it, and it went down by itself in value, and then the buyer improved it back to where it was to begin with. So the buyer didn't gain anything. He has nothing to pay. The only thing that the buyer could do is go after the ganav. Okay? Listen what happened. A guy. No. I'll explain to you. The guy owns an apartment. He had air conditioning in there. It was painted. Everything was good. Somebody comes, steals the apartment from him. After 20 years, air conditioner is worthless. The paint needs to be repainted. So the guy that the ganav sells it to, now, the guy puts in a new air conditioner, paints the walls. Now, we're asking that the original owner should pay for the air conditioning. The answer is no. When you stole it from me, it had air conditioning. I had it with air conditioning. So you already had air conditioning. I'm not paying anybody for anything. The ganav, what?
What if he was mashbiach more?
Then he does. You're right. Rashi's answering. That's talking about that he already had the hashbacha and it went down after it was stolen. He had the hashbacha, went down, went up. So the one that was stolen from is saying, I'm not paying anybody anything. I had it at a good place. My apartment was air conditioned. It had good paint. You stole it. After a while, the paint went away, deteriorated, and there's no air conditioning. The new guy put in the air conditioning paint, so the ganav should pay for that. But you have to say that. Okay. Says the Gemara, you don't take money from the ganav for the improvements. Oh, why not? We're going to see it in a second. Perish is a shvach ma'u. To understand Shmuel, why doesn't the ganav have to pay for improvements? What if he said, the ganav, when he sells the fake land that's not his, He says, I take it, it's bachrayis, if you put any improvements, I'll pay for it. Time of the Shmuel Mishum Delay Perish Vach is because he never specified? Vacha Perish Lay, but if he did specify, the Ganav would have to pay for improvements in the air conditioner? Oidilma, time of the Shmuel, given the Leslie Karka Merziki Ribis. Nu halacha, that perhaps it looks like Ribis. Why? When the Ganav doesn't own the field, think about it. The Ganav doesn't own the field, he doesn't own the apartment. He sells an apartment that's not his. He takes money for it. What is that money? The money is a loan. The guy gave him money, not for a purchase, because it's not his, he can't purchase it. He gave him money for no reason. That's called a loan. The Ganav now, he got $100,000 for the apartment. He has to give back the $100,000 to the guy that he lied to. He ripped him off. But now if you tell him he has to pay $10,000 for the air conditioning and the painting, so it looks like ribbis. He got $100,000 and he's giving back $110,000. It looks like ribbis, but it's not ribbis. Therefore, the Ganav gets off the hook. I know it's hurtful, but that's how it is. So, what do you do? What do you do in this case? Do you pay? Is this the reason that Shmuel said that you don't get the improvements because it looks like ribbis? Or perhaps because it wasn't mentioned? In velav, yes, no, I don't know, I'm confused. V'rafi biyodei is very indecisive, you didn't know what that halach is. Says Gemara, Rav Nachman Shmuel, Mois yesh loy, shevach ein loy. So Rav Nachman says, in the name of Shmuel, and he explains, even though he said, I will pay for the improvements. What do you see from here? My time up, given the karka ein loy schar ma'osav oimed v'noitel. If he doesn't own the property, it's going to look like interest. Eisvei Rav Nachman, so Rav asks is Rebbe, and this whole sugi, by the way, let's see if the Eiler remembers. When you have a machlokes in Mamonis, this is a machlokes in Mamonis, between Rav and Shmuel, do you have to pay the improvements or not? The machlokes in Mamonis. Who do we pass like? Rav or Shmuel when it comes to Mamonis? Shmuel. This sugya, we're going to pass like Rav. Nevertheless, the next few minutes, we're going to try to understand Shmuel. Eisvei Rav Nachman. Ein moitzim lachilas peiros v'l'shvach karkois v'l'mozon isha v'abonos min chazim mishubadim. Just so we're on the same page here. When a person owes his wife, what is it called? Child support. It's child support and alimony, but it's talking about also mazon abonos. Child support also, but alimony. She cannot take from sold real estate. Okay? Why? Because tikkun olam. Then nobody can buy real estate because everybody has a wife. Nobody knows if they're getting divorced. Nobody knows how long they're going to be divorced or widowed, and how much money is going to come out of my real estate that I purchased from anybody. So you can never buy real estate. If a guy has a loan, there's a $10,000 loan. I know it's capped at $10,000. Worst comes to worst, to come and take $10,000 out of my property. But mezainis, it could be 80 years. I don't know. So no cap. There's also, you can't take achilas peris, which I don't know what it is yet. Was he going to see in the Gemara? And shevach karka, which I don't know yet what it means. We're going to see in the Gemara. Shevach karka l'chayr is talking about our shevach that we're talking about here. What's shevach? Improvements, the air conditioners. So it says like this: you don't take it out of the chazim shubalim. You don't take it from sold real estate. It says Gemara, you do take it if he owns real estate right now. You take it from his real estate. It says, what's the middle one? The purple. I did explain it. My love, so our question over here. You buy something from a Ganav and you improve that you put air conditioners in. It says before that the Ganav has to pay him back from unsold real estate. You're right, sold real estate, not unsold real estate that the Ganav has. He has to take and pay for the air conditioners. No, it's a kasha on Rav Nachman and Shmuel. Loi bebalchoiv. We're not talking about the case of a Ganav. We're talking about this case. Rabbi say, take a look. It's kimat the same thing, but look at this. A guy borrowed money. The guy that borrowed money sold the field. The guy that bought the field improved the field. Comes the guy that lent the money and takes the field away. Now the guy that bought the field wants his improvements back from the borrower. He wants his initial purchase price plus all the improvements. He wants 130 instead of 100. And there's no problem with ribbis here because it was a legit sale. The Ruvain, the Loibus, sold the field to the buyer. When do you have a problem with ribbis? When I lend you money and you give me back more than I lent you. By the Ganav, the purchaser lent the ganav money. He never purchased it because he can't buy anything from a ganav. So the money he gave the ganav was a loan, and then the ganav goes back and gives back more money for the improvements. That's ribis. But over here there was a sale, and I want money for my improvements. That's not ribis. Says the Gemara. So you're talking about, no, we're not talking about a ganav, our case. So we have no right to our case of a ganav. We're talking about a different case of a loan. So reisha just means the two words before the seifa. It's one line, right? You don't take from sold real estate from, sorry, not this one. Wrong chart. Here we go. This is the reisha and the seifa. Let me just go over here. Okay. We said in one line, you don't take from sold real estate, achilas perish, shevach karka, mazanisha. Shevach karka is the seifa. Reisha is achilas perish, okay? It's not so confusing. Ein moitzim lachilas perish. You don't take for fruit that was taken. As the Gemara, let's say you owe me money and I take your house from you. The house, do I take the furniture in the house? No, I take the house. If I take your field, do I take the fruit that are on the tree? No. The fruit that are finished on the tree, they don't belong to me. The real estate belongs to me. You don't take the fruit. Let me ask you something else. If you steal a field from me, and I come and I get my strength back and I take the field back, do I take the field back with the fruit that you planted here or without? With. Because it's my field. You planted it on my field. So the ganav does take achilas peres. So therefore the reisha is talking about a ganav, not a bachayv. If that's the case, it's going to be like this. Both of these cases, the reisha and the sefer are both talking about a ganav. So how do you tell me that the sefer, the middle one, is talking about a bachayv? The reisha begoys of a nigzal, sefer not begoys of a nigzal. It has to be uniform. So the Gemara the area, not true, not uniform at all. The reisha, oh, what just happened? That was funny. He ran away. The malva ran away. The reisha is talking about a gazlan. And the seif is talking about a malva, two different stories. It says what's this middle case? You improve the karka. It says mafurish. We are talking about gzela, not a malva. And it says mafurish. This is our question. The improvements from a ganav that sells his field. Do you pay it or not? It says over here, Yishevach goiva. You do have to pay the improvements. Where? From Nechayr, not like Rav Nachman, like Shmuel. Hey chidami. Ilema kediktani gazlam and mangavi. If it's just simple, a ganav has to give back the field, and the one that was nigzal, the one that the field was stolen from, has to take the field back. That's impossible. A gazlan can never recoup anything. Elalav must say it's talking about our story. The lacher vishbicha, he stole a field, he sold it to somebody else. Our story. That somebody else went in and made improvements. So you see from here that the nigzal, the one that bought the field does have to pay for improvements. Once you're fixing up this brisa, then you can't ask any questions from a brisa that's fixed up. You answered that it's talking about that he sold it to somebody else. Then tell me that's talking about a bachayv. I think we should go another minute here, because otherwise it's the middle of the story. No, okay, we'll stop over here. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day. Manaseh.